Greetings and welcome everyone. I am Sumitra Kumar from BDS 10 and I'll be your MC for the day. As a monthly initiative, Student Council 2021 is organizing its first online continuous professional development talk for the greater benefits of the dental students of Manipal University College under the guidance of our Student Council advisor, Professor Dr. Som Subrade. First and foremost, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Rashid, the Dean of Faculty of Dentistry, Dr. Som Subrade, Dr. Sunil, Dr. Vijendra, Dr. Prashanti, faculty members, and my fellow friends for gracing us with your presence here today. Before we start, I would like to announce some ground rules for this CPD talk. Please keep all your mobile devices on silent mode. Please refrain from eating in front of the webcam. Please ensure that you are dressed appropriately. Throughout the talk, your microphones will be muted by the host and the co-host of the meeting. Please turn on your video to engage and interact with the speaker during the Q&A session. This meeting will be recorded and pictures will be taken for documentation purposes. By attending this meeting, you have given your consent for the recording and picture taking. Due to certain circumstances, Professor Dr. Rashid could not be here with us today, but he has asked me to convey his warmest regards and has also prepared a welcome video for me to share with you. So we'll have the video being played for you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and very good evening. First and foremost, let me take this opportunity to congratulate the Education Director of Student Council, Manipal University College Malaysia, for organizing this continuous medical education program. Thank you, Professor Dr. Som Supra, the advisor of the Student Council, for guiding students in conducting this monthly event. Welcome to our guest speaker, Dr. Bryan John Paulus. Thank you, Dr. Bryan, for taking your time off to contribute to the alma mater. Dr. Bryan is the first BDS graduate in 2014. During his student days, he managed to balance well between his studies and out-of-campus activities. He took up modeling and acting, and he told us he did it because he wanted to save for his postgraduate education. We are very proud and happy to know that he managed to do it. I'm sharing this with students so that it will motivate them, it will inspire them, to do the same. Right? Please plan well during your undergraduate days. Look at the opportunities around you so that when you graduated from our program, you have a clear mind of what you want to do. Before I end this video session, let me take again this opportunity to thanks the organizer for giving me a few minutes to appear on this program. Have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Rashid. Now we would begin with the picture taking session. All participants are required to turn on their webcams.
Hi everybody, could you please on your camera for just the picture? If your internet is slow, it's all right. We won't ask you to keep it on, but just for the picture. Otherwise, only your name will be seen. Yes, we are waiting for quite a few people still not owning your camera. Just on the video on the left. Okay, we got the first page almost filled up. Yeah, we have. All right, I believe we got the first page, so we'll just look at the camera. There are two pages. I'll be taking two pages of pictures. So just put your pose, whatever you want to put a pose. So in 3, 2, 1, that's page 1. And I'm not sure if you're on page 1. So just hold on to your pose. Going in for page 2 in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, though many people have not on their camera, it's okay. We'll have at least later we will see if we need to take the picture again. Back to you, Sumitra. Please continue.
Thank you, Doctor. Now I would like to invite the Vice President of Student Council 2021, Mr. Farzan, to give a brief introduction of the speaker of today.
Thank you, Sumitra. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining this evening online session today. So my name is Farzan, and it is my privilege to introduce to you a very special guest today. Much like you and I, this individual obtained his higher education in Triple MC. He graduated with first-class honors in Bachelor of Dentistry. Through hard work and discipline, Sir became the Dental Director for BP Healthcare Malaysia. Currently, he works as an oral health consultant, clinically based in Bukit Damansara. Sir kept expanding his boundaries by pursuing his master's in aesthetic dentistry from King's College London. As part of great achievements, his contributions can be heard in the Cochrane Oral Health podcast. So here to inspire, advise, and guide us, please welcome Dr. Bryan John Paulos to enlighten us with today's topic, which is Dental Nomad, You Are Your Clinics.
Thanks a lot, Farzan, for the introduction. Thank you guys for having me. It's about 6 o'clock, so if you're all in Malacca, probably right now we'll be heading out for basketball or the gym or whatever we used to do in the evening. So appreciate your time. If you're taking off, about 45 minutes of your time that you can be spending outside, I really appreciate that you are coming on board just to listen to this. So I hope to make it beneficial of your time. So thanks a lot to Dr. Som for reaching out and setting up this platform for this exchange to happen, and of course Dean for always being our supporters and for setting up the program. So just before the whole talk had started, we're just having a bit of banter, and I understand that right now we're into batch 10, 9, 12. So it's gone double digits since we sort of inhabited MMMC. So it's always good to see the changes that are sort of happening. What I will do right now is share to you my screen. If you can see it, just give me a thumbs up. Yep.
Can
Good.
see, Brian.
Okay, great. Because it's a little bit awkward presenting to the screen because all I can see is the slides. Of course, I love to be there with you. And, I promised Dr. Som if I'm down in the area, I'll drop by. So if we all see each other in MMMC, then let's catch up. Right. So anyway, this is the topic for today. I'll just minimize the screen. Right, dental nomad, you are your clinic. Very odd topic you might be thinking for, a CPD talk. Most would be expecting something very clinical based, something very technical, others something that's inspirational, TED Talk-esque. But I thought about taking something that's very personal to myself, adapt it, and maybe just tell a story about the journey so far. And maybe, there's something in that for all of you. So you're probably wondering why I'm using slides from 3M. I'm currently also doing a bit of work for 3M, actually on full-time basis, meanwhile also practicing in clinics. So I'll talk a little bit about what I do. But before that, let's get into, the whole definition. Being a student and we had to finish our assignments really quick. Don't do this, especially when you're doing your final year project. You want to look up stuff on PubMed and stuff. But if you're looking for a quick reference or, anything from the Urban Dictionary, Wikipedia is perfectly fine. So this is what a definition of a nomad is. I think everyone would know it as someone who doesn't have a constant state of, address, someone who's always shifting around. And surprisingly enough, there are 30 to 40 million nomads in the world as of 1995. So you can imagine how much that figure would have increased. I don't have the recent data, but 30 to 40 million is a large number of nomads. Okay. So immediately when you're thinking nomad, nomadacy, somebody might be thinking, of someone somewhere in, the Himalayas or somewhere far off in Nepal, or somewhere where they actively practice changing the location or sites based on the weather, based on resource. So these are common reasons as to why people become nomads. Animals, for example, by nature, that it's not that it is something that has been learned. So sometimes when we consider this, the perspective of, is it something that's innate? Is it a nurture thing or is it a nature thing? So if you're looking at human culture, some people might say like nomadacy is acquired. They learned it because of their background from their forefathers, and that's why they still practice it today. Even in Sarawak, when we had visited or where I had worked, later I'll talk a little bit about that. There is even a tribe called the Penan people who are literally nomadic. They do not set foot in the clinic. They are constantly in the jungle and they are constantly shifting their address. So is it by nature or is it by nurture? So when you're looking at animals such as birds, surely you don't think that the birds are trained on how to be nomadic. There must be something innate in them that drives them to be nomadic. It could be a change of weather, for example, if winter is coming and they can sense this by telling from the signs. And as a result, they just know when it is the time to actually shift to a more favorable position. All right, let's zoom to the contemporary sense of what a nomad means to be. So maybe nomadacy back in the day might suggest a state of having a lack of abundance, or that's why you're changing a location in order to find better pastures or greenery or water source. Nowadays, there's even a term that's come up called digital nomadacy. So these is to actually denote people who are working hot desking. Your office is pretty much wherever you pitch up your tent. So these are called digital nomads. So I myself currently find myself in this situation. I'm a bit of a digital nomad, as you can see before the whole talk started. I was shifting around with my laptop. I am working from home currently. So that might be odd to hear as a dentist because usually dentists are positioned in clinics, right? So I'll get into a little bit about that and how this might be relevant to you. We've seen a shift in paradigm from lack of abundance towards uh, nomadacy being associated with freedom, because people are posting on their phones that, oh, this is my background today, and they're doing their work beside the beach. So we even see a shift in how nomadacy is perceived originally or prior to this, to how it's contemporary, even seen as a sign of career freedom in your career. So what I want to get off at before I get further along is that things are always changing. And the things that I knew when I was a student is constantly changing and updating. There's also a dictum or contradictory statement saying there's nothing new under the sun. So which one is true? Let's explore and see. Okay. So that's me a few haircuts ago, a few shaves ago. So I am the Scientific Affairs and Education Manager currently for 3M Oral Care Malaysia. So for all those who know 3M or might not know 3M, you may know 3M through some household appliance. If you're using sticky notes to study right now, Post-its is actually a 3M appliance. If you look at your Littmann stethoscope, that's also a 3M appliance. That's actually under 3M. If you're looking in hospitals, you have things such as the bear hugger, you have Tegaderm, and all these things that you use to wrap up your butterfly cannula. Those are under the MSD or medical devices, which are under 3M. And of course, the reason why I'm employed by 3M is because they have a dental opportunity with 3M. I didn't even know that, but here I am. Okay. So if you guys want to connect with me outside, just hit me up on Instagram. If you like to, DM me. If you want to have a chat over LinkedIn, this is my QR code. Just scan that, drop me, just connect with me, and we can have a chat. Outside, whatever you want to talk about. Okay. So this is what I do for 3M. I'm currently covering Malaysia. So I'm in charge of Malaysia for education as well as scientific affairs. I do a bit of coverage for Singapore as well. So I'm supposed to be traveling, but in the current situation, we see less of that and a lot of engagement has gone online. Pretty much explanatory as to how we got here. If you're a student and you're looking at how many slides we had, it's 100 plus. So I'll be skimming through everything. I have been requested to finish under like maybe 7 minutes. Hopefully we can keep it more for engagement because I love to talk to you guys. So these are some of the things that you might see in your clinics right now in MMMC, because I remember that 3M used to be an integral part of what we use in Triple MC. As a matter of fact, there are 3 M's in MMMC. So, some people say like maybe it's meant to be that I'm working for 3M since I'm from MMMC. If you're poetic and if you think this is, you're always looking for signs and, correlations, and maybe, we don't know. But yeah, so using 3M materials are very much part of what I used to do. And little did I know, I was actually listening to a talk like this, and someone in my position currently had attended. I think it was Dr. Sunil Banga at that point of time. And it was also courtesy of, the dean and the faculty for organizing such events as this, that I was exposed to that. Little did I know that I'll be occupying that job right now. So you're probably wondering, what do I do for 3M? How is a dentist now related to 3M? What's this all about? So 3M is actually an MNC company. So for those who don't know what an MNC is, or for those who know, an MNC means a multinational company. So you would think places like Shell, these are companies that are positioned all around the world. So to say the least, we have an international presence. So this is my team in Malaysia, and it comprises of a scientific education person. So I'm in charge of education, organizing events, courses, all the things you see for SCATE. I'm in charge of that. I'm also in charge of managing KOLs, or key opinion leaders, or healthcare practitioners. Later, I'll talk a bit about that. Karo has invited me to speak for the dental forum that's coming up for dusk. I think I'll be touching about that. So sorry, Karo, I think if you're on, it's a bit of a spoiler, but I promise you I'll change the slides a little bit, okay? So this is my team. This is the head of sales marketing. Well, that guy, well, you know him, is from MMC. This is one of our KLs, Dr. Haikal. So I think if you know Dr. Haikal quite well, he's a renowned speaker in Malaysia. He's very experienced, and he speaks very well about adhesive dentistry as well as restorative dentistry. And with the rest of the team, what we do is bring education to the team. So many of you might know some of these KOLs. If you don't know, probably those who are actively involved. I heard you all are involved in student council. For the more dentally inclined, this is Dr. Ami Empol, Dr. Annapurni, as well as Dr. Ho Tinki. So they're from UKM. This doctor is actually visiting UM as well as UKM, and this is UITM Stella Solwart, who's also teaching a lot in PEDS. So we see a lot of diverse people that are gathered together. So if you're thinking of a football team, I'm sort of the manager who gathers the star players. The star players sort of deliver the content. So that's a little bit about what I do with 3M. So this is the jerseys that I've invented for this season, and that's what I'm currently wearing. So whenever we represent 3M being an international company, we're also representing Malaysia. So that's why I actually designed it like this. Okay, so 3M is a Dow Jones index company. For all those who are involved in stocks and exchange, you will know this very well. Dow Jones is the KLSE of New York, and part of this 30 list, you have people from McDonald's, you have Nike, you have Walt Disney, these type of companies who are very long in the market, who have established as public listing. Trem is the only dental related company or dental affiliated company which is enlisted under there. So this just comes to show that it is a very solid company who is very steep in R&D and research. So they've been around for a long time. So how 3M started off, they started off as a mining company. What 3M stands for is actually Minnesota Mining Manufacturing. So they started off with mining and sandpaper, and eventually they diversified their business beyond mining into medical, into consumer, transport, lots of stuff. So the whole concept of having nomadicity or evolution is pretty much everything that 3M embodies, which is why I feel like being part of this company is very, I feel connected to it. Okay, so this is our tagline. We're always showing how our solutions actually improve. So these are some of the things that you might see if you're in the OT bear hugger. Look out for them, tag them. We also do solar panels. If you're wondering how aeroplanes actually stick together in the sky without collapsing without one screw, it's actually because of glue, right? So the aeroplane glue is actually manufactured by 3M. We're pretty big in adhesives. If you're wondering what actually holds the panel, big glasses that you see in the KLCC, those are all actually 3M glue. If you're wondering what are found within the chips of each iPhones, these are also manufactured by 3M. If you're in a BMW, if you're in a Mercedes or in any car, and you're wondering what gives it a proper insulation that you can't really hear what's outside, that's also a 3M solution. So we see that we're in multiple fields, in multiple industries, and this makes 3M a very diversified company. So this is where we're present all around the world, and I represent the map of Malaysia proudly. And as mentioned, we're in healthcare there. You can see Litman, so relevant to the medical students. So if you're wondering, Litman is a 3M product. Safety and industrial, if you're seeing all those highlighted things that you see from stoppage signs to road signs that illuminate at night, those are all 3M as well. And of course, sticky notes. Who doesn't use sticky notes? We're all studying in the study room, right? That's where we used to study. So I could go on about 3M, but this is one of the latest things. So 3M is always ahead of trend. They're always innovating. So Nike is also part of the Dow Jones Study Index, right? So this is one of the collaborations that has happened between 3M and Nike. So the shoes for the Nike Air series is currently made out of 3M Thinsulate, which is actually a 3M cloth material. So pretty cool. You can actually read up about these collaborations and see what that's all about. So as I mentioned, more fast forward to how I'm relevant to 3M. This is the industry or the department that I occupy, which is oral health. And these are the things that I represent, or you might know Softlax among the other filling materials. So what is my purpose or what is my propaganda or motto as part of 3M? Ever since coming in, this has been my tagline. I endeavor to humanize oral care. So you might see this as a very familiar thing. You know, you're seeing Nokia, right? You know, the symbol of Nokia instantly is you see two hands reaching out. I found that quite a powerful message because in just one picture, you sort of get a picture of what the company is all about. And what I do in 3M is I act as the bridge, quite literally. If I'm a bridge, I'm the pontic between two abutments, right? And I connect the dental side of things to the industrial side of it. So I'm sort of the middleman between these two. And that's why my job is to humanize it, to make it very relevant to you. Because if not, then there's no point of sort of having all these solutions, right? So this is part of my tenure that I used to work. I've been in multiple roles. I think I just like to try a lot of new stuff. I think I easily get bored, and I'm always looking at what's the next thing that I can do. So these are some of the other things that thanks for the introduction earlier. It's because I was bored and wanted to experience new thing. And also because of opportunities given, I got into podcasting. I still practice in Bukit Damansara. I still sometimes come over to MMMC to help out with a bit of research project that's run by Prof. Suman and the rest of the team, Prof. Rashid, as well as Noliza ma'am. This is some of the stuff that I used to do, but all of this didn't come to be immediately. It was something that was amassed over 5 years. And, I started off in the government. And if you ask me right now, if I had imagined that I'd be in this position, I said, no way. But that's just how it worked out. And, if it worked out that way for me within 5 years, I think you guys definitely have a very bright future ahead. You guys are born in the area of a lot of abundance, a lot of access. And you all are a very talented bunch. I've seen the work that's coming out of a lot of young dentists. And believe me, when I say this, you guys are very capable, especially in the hands of all the lecturers who are in Triple MC. It's a good combo. So when I was a student, I used to intern. I initially wanted to do medicine. funny story. It didn't quite work out for me because I wanted to sort of have a different experience of things. Whilst I was interested in medicine, I also wanted to experience things on the outside. So maybe that's why dentistry opened as a very good opportunity for me. So of course, as mentioned, this is something new. I just submitted my thesis in December over Christmas, and finally that's done. If you're going to do masters, I do encourage you guys to do it. And thanks so much, Dean sir, for mentioning what you did. It's very due to all of you, your encouragement from all our lecturers who always say, like, if you go out, you have to specialize. So I'm just thankful that we're able to do that by the time I'm 30. So my time is up. I'm now 30. I'm entering into 3 series. So at least I got that done. So this is my family, something I'm very passionate about. While you're involved in dentistry, it's very important to also have a very strong backbone, to also have people that you are working these things for, and people that you can enjoy it with. So I recently got married. That's my wife here, and that's the rest of my family during one of the Chinese New Years before. No, we didn't gather during this Chinese New Year, so don't report that. This was a Chinese New Year picture from a few years ago. But we can see that there's a lot of diversity that happens in the family. So what I am is actually a Chindian plus some other things. So it's quite cool that we have different types of ethnicities all blended into the family. So we even have Punjabi through marriage, Chinese, etc., Portuguese, etc. So these are some of my favorite movies. This is something I recently watched. It's quite good. Startup is one of the series. Yes, I know it's a Korean series, but when you're working from home and your Netflix is on, you have to layan lah. So this was one of the movies that I like. These are some of my favorite authors. I like the simplicity of his writing, and I like a lot about what he said. And this is one of the famous quotes. So if you can see something in your mind, or if you have an inkling of what you sort of want to do, right, you have this sort of feeling or intuition in you that drives you to like certain things. So I would encourage you at this position to really enjoy your student life. Like, be serious about your studies, but truly maximize and enjoy, time with your friends, and try things that you want to try. Because you never get this time back, and it's truly one of the best periods in my time in Manipal, and very, very miss those days. So all you have to do is actually be in tune or pay attention to the signs that are out there, because I think intrinsically you know what you want to do. Everyone sort of has a skill, everyone has a superpower, if you wish, and you just have to be in tune with that. And if you're looking out for these signs, you're going to start to see opportunities as they come. And keep things simple and be humble. Always say that you're constantly learning. If Michelangelo, who was an artist, a doctor, and all that, at the age of 87 could say he's still learning, I think this is something that I strongly subscribe to. One of the greatest things that you could ever have, if you ask me in terms of equality, I would say it's curiosity. So always cultivate that curiosity, always ask questions. Why I'm thankful to be part of Manipal is because we were always encouraged by our lecturers to ask, to challenge, and we were given the opportunity and the environment to do these things. But when you are challenging, it's not to disconcert. That's not the purpose of doing these things, right? You're doing these things because you're genuinely curious about why. So always seek to understand a problem instead of mug it up. That's just the way I do things. If you relate, it just sort of helps you make the process less painful when you're sort of understanding and seeking to understand and enjoying the process. So be curious. If you're seeing something that's happened, imagine how the whole discovery of gravity would have been different if Isaac Newton had, he could have looked at it in so many ways, right? But when the apple fell, he started asking himself, why did the apple fall? So that led his curiosity is what led him to the discovery. And that resonates very well with me because I think by nature, I'm just someone who's very curious. I want to explore a lot of things, and that's why I've tried a lot of things. So that's me. I actually did do dental work. I would say that in uni, I was a backbencher. So it was me at the back of the class with some of my mates. So it was Dinesh and of course CCL. So there was a Chindian, there was a Chinese and an Indian, and the rest of the class. So if you go to the cinema, the best view is always at the back, but that's why we always occupied the back. But our cohort of class was really small. So it's about 21 people. So everyone was pretty much a back row or front row. And these were some of the, my cubicle. So whoever is occupying my cubicle right now, I hope you're taking good care of it. So it's in the Yellow Bay. So as Sir mentioned earlier, this was some of the stuff that I got into while I was studying. And remember the quote that we saw earlier, right? There's something that drives you intrinsically to be curious. You don't know why, you just feel curious, right? So I would encourage you to pay attention to that inner voice. The reason why I'd gotten into this in the first place is because I wanted funding. See, from the time when I was a student, I had wanted to, because I wasn't on scholarship, right? So I wanted to sort of find, a multiple stream of income so that I can supplement my lifestyle or help to pay for at least my basic needs when I'm in Manipal, since my parents were the ones sort of forking out stuff. So, I took the PTPTN loan and all that, as many of you would be, and you're hoping to get first class honors so that when you actually get that sponsorship, you can actually weigh off a lot of that and contra the investments that your parents are paying. So I think this is one of the reasons why I got into it. But that curiosity led me to, from just being earning 800 for like maybe a 1 day gig in a Pizza Hut ad, which they only featured like one part of my head for literally 3 seconds, but the money was good, right? 800 for like a days of work, it's okay. Little did I know that I would enjoy it, and eventually I started exploring that further. I started getting into pageantry, I started getting into runway, and I just wanted to explore everything that the field had to offer. And of course, we met a lot of interesting people along the way, and we're still friends for it right now. So if you've watched some of the movies, such as I don't know what's the one that Hyung Bin is working in, for all those people who love Korean movies, I think it's Record of Youth. So I could relate a lot to the movie because I was struggling sort of to get into the industry, and posing in front of the camera is never something I'm very comfortable with, but that's exactly what you had to do. You had to get into the mode, you had to get into the mood in order to portray a certain thing as direction was given. So I was very thankful for these type of opportunities. And you have a very creative person in Dr. Som, who's in Manipal. He's always creating very cool stuff. He even organized a fashion show during our time, and that was some of the things that we had fun with. So this was from those days. I got into a bit of print ads, did a bit for Old Town White Coffee. Then I constantly got curious, eventually won a pageant, got featured in a magazine. So all these type of things were experiences that I really enjoyed during being a student. And it came to a point where I was sort of torn between two worlds. I loved it so much that, I contemplated about, should I give up dentistry and pursue this full time because there were a lot of opportunities, or should I finish school? And you can see why, right? Because you're meeting a lot of these people, you're earning money during the time when you're supposed to be studying and paying money. So this creates a certain drive in you. But thankfully, thanks to the lecturers who always balanced me out, I think they're very supportive. But at the same time, they always drove me to remember what's important. Always graduate with what you have, and if you ever want to come back to this, then you can. So Fazura was actually my chief judge for one of the competitions. So she was the reason I actually won this. So, I was very grateful to meet all these colorful people. And anyone from my time would know Azura from Disney Buzz. So she was like, on Disney Buzz. And this was me with Joiza Rashidi. So this was a critical period in my life because they sort of offered me a movie role at a point of time. I still remember having a chat, I think, with Ma'am Prashanti, or was it with Prof. Suman, and several of the lecturers. And, I was discerning, because I was torn, I was okay at dentistry. I was okay at this as well. But the roles were done. We were in the middle of casting. I was sitting with a numerous group of people. We even were practicing scripts, and it came to the 11th hour that I had to choose between sitting for exams or doing this, and I chose dentistry. And who knows what could have been if I had pursued acting as a career, but I chose dentistry, and there are no regrets since. So again, that's my cubicle. I think it's the third from here. So whoever who's occupying my one better take care of it. So that's me on my final day as a student, literally signed off. These were two of the guys who sat with me in the back bench. These were some of our juniors as well. So Shasha, she's currently working in Avicenna. I think you might know her. And some of our batchmates. So it was very fun. So after I graduated, I got into a bit of traveling. Of course, you got to enjoy your pre-PTM period, right? Don't sit at home. Of course, now you can't do that. But if you ever can, travel, explore, and have fun. Because once the work starts, it really picks up. So we visited Bali. That's my batchmates and I. So all of them are in different parts of the world doing different things. Bing Hong started up a practice, in Sri Petaling that's been running very successful. He's already opened up his third clinic or second clinic right now. So you can see the different directions that were taken by different of my friends. Jovian here, he opted to stay in the government. Right now, he's going for his specialization, or he's applying for that. for the HLP program. Dr. Vivian, who was also my batchmate, who helped me out in the cubicle a lot, we used to do research together. She ended up working for a group practice, Ancora in Paro. So she was one of the first few pioneer dentists who came on board. Of course, Dr. Jane, she joined a normal practice, and she's, helping out in a busy practice, albeit a bit smaller scale. So different people from my batch are doing all sorts of stuff. And when people say that I'm working in tram, that just made a lot of people scratch their head. But I'll get into why I did it. So the reason why I arrived in this is because I was curious. I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So I explored. After being a student, this is something that you could do. You don't have to do it. You can go and ask for internships. And these are some of the awesome people that I met. They were my mentors, and they really influenced the way that I think right now. And a lot of who I am right now is a lot due to all these mentors who were in my life. So Dr. Tan Boon Teck, of course. So I tried in endodontics. I tried in a GP practice in a hospital setting. Doc Moy is the general dentist in Glen Eagles at that point of time. And through that, I started meeting different people, such as Dr. Perlin, etc. And because of that, I started interning in different spaces as well. So after that, I tried out digital dentistry to see what it was all about at a point of time where it was just in the market. I attended courses. And this is, of course, is our PTM batch. And as you can see, again, us occupying backbenches. And this was our PTM batch, very, very fun batch. Eventually, I got posted to Miri. I applied for everywhere nearby. It just worked out. I didn't know I was going to get Sarawak. So for all of you who are thinking that you're going to get, Selangor, if you're applying to your hometown, you're quite fortunate if you can get it. Back in my day, there was no such thing. We get the letter and then off you go. So, I just was open to it. And when we went to Miri, Kuching, we sat down on the table and we decided together where everyone is going to go. Eventually, Miri, I ended up in Miri. And this was one of the cases that I initially pursued in my first week in Miri. So a lot of people say a lot of stuff while you're in government. You can't do this, you can't do that. What I would like to confer upon all of you is you are your own clinic. And the reason for this is because a lot of people have the concept that it depends on really on what you want to do. You want to get into dentistry because you want to open up a clinic, you want to leave a legacy, or maybe some of you, your parents are dentists, so naturally you want to take over the succession. This is not a wrong reason to do it. There are so many reasons as to why people get into dentistry. Some people want to get into it for the money because the money is good. Well, of course, if you're looking at digital nomads, I think if you're in for money, maybe you're not. Right now, dentistry is very competitive. So there's so many other things out there that you could probably do that can bring you more money. But if you're into it to do the good work, or if you want to specialize, you want to be known as a specialist, this could possibly be a reason. So my philosophy is very different. Most of my friends that I showed you earlier, when they went out, some of them already knew from the time that they went out, they didn't want to specialize. Some wanted to specialize, right? Because intrinsically, you know in your heart what you want. So pay attention to that, keep it open and explore. So when you go into government, don't stop doing the things that you learn in MMMC. You have lecturers who are teaching you the best. They're using the best material. They're spending so much attention on you. Because if you don't practice things right, you de-skill really fast. So that's why even though I was a FIDO and it was my first day and wasn't allowed, these were cases that I dared to take because of the competency conferred upon me from MMMC. And, don't listen to a lot of hearsay. Intrinsically know what you want and, go after excellence. You can't be far wrong. So when I was in Miri, of course, the experience is a lot different. So immediately people think if you end up in Miri, you're going to be disconnected from having restorative dentistry. You're going to be doing a lot of extractions, a lot of basic stuff. But therein lies a lot of opportunity for you. So for all those who end up, going or wanting to explore, or you don't get somewhere with restorative posting, don't fret. Make the best of your situation. So because I was the only guy officer in my batch among 4, I took up all the opportunities to travel in Miri. So in Miri, you get to travel to a lot of these outskirts. You get to do a lot of rural expeditions. And these were the things that we did most of the time, extractions, fillings, going and visiting the tribal people within their villages. Sometimes I just disappear for 2 weeks and then reappear, off a place that I never heard on Google. So if you ask me if I've been on a boat, I've been on a boat. If you ask me if I've been on a dental bus, I've been on a dental bus. I've been in multiple spaces doing different things. The only thing I have not been in is a helicopter. If I ever get the opportunity, one day I might want to do that. So this is us. This is my housemate, Kim. This is us traveling one of the Long Jakitan, seeing the tribal people during one of our expeditions, just experiencing everything. So you name it, Mandi Sungai. We used to stay with teachers. Mandi Sungai, stay there, experience Gawai. Whatever it is that it is there, just be open to it, and you learn a lot from the people around you. So this is my batch, Dr. Afika. She and I wanted to do ortho, right? So eventually, I ended up taking a different part. She persisted in ortho, and she is now becoming one of the lecturers in UM. She's just done. So both of us are on similar timelines. We just caught up. I think she just came back from the UK. So she started in UM as a lecturer, and now I'm on my path in 3M. So this is us in Pakar 4, experience everything. If you ever go to Sarawak, please bring them roti, especially gardenia. They love you for it. Somebody told me this. It was a good tip. So always know the currency of what you're going for and the culture, right? And just be friendly with the people that you mix with. So this is us goofing around during Gawai. This is one of my batchmates, CCL. He's actually opened a private practice near my place, and similar to Bing Hong now, he's already on to his third practice. He's even renovating his top. So if you want to get into something where you want to, open up a practice and you're starting from zero, you might want to talk to seniors like Dr. CCL. I think some of the juniors might have interned with him. We're still in touch. He's just like 5 minutes away from my house. I go and hang out with him every now and then. So this is us, always keeping things light and fun. So this was the popular movie back then in the day. Before TikTok emerged, this was our form of entertainment. So we kept ourselves entertained doing stupid stuff on Instagram. So always keep things light. Always travel. So these were some of the things that we did during Sarawak. And of course, some of my mentors encouraged me to take up your part two. So if ever you're contemplating to take up your master's, or if you don't know what to do while you're in your fightership, this is one of the possible things you can do. You can take up your part one, part two. If you want to talk to me about that or how you can get more resources, I'll be more than happy if you just reach out to me on LinkedIn. We can have a chat and I can direct you to how you can study for that as well. So the reason why I had taken my part one again, right? So my goal was to become an orthodontist, dead set out of dental school because of the influence that I had. I thought I wanted to do orthodontics because, well, orthodontics is very niche. You're focusing on one thing, and that's all you're sort of going to do. And it was the approach to the treatment that sort of took me up. So I told everybody I was going to be an orthodontist. No two ways about it. I'm not going to bend. I'm going to do this, right? But little did I know that life had other things for me, and that's okay because I'll tell you a bit of a story. So initially, I was studying because I was trying to achieve a placement in orthodontics. That's why when I started doing my FIDO back then, my first year, I started reading and I took my exams within the first year. Within the second year, I already took my part two. Only after you take your part two are you allowed to apply for an internship. So I got into ortho. I tried it out. And, I was very blessed to have, Dr. Shazrina and the rest of the team, accommodate me once a week. Because if you like something, the best way to know if you like it or not, it's very ambiguous in your head. So try stuff. All right. If you have a curiosity towards something, don't stay still. Go and try it out or find out or talk to people. You'll be surprised how many people are actually looking for passion. And because they feel your passion, they're willing to actually share with you. So we did this and I found out that maybe ortho is for me, maybe it's not. I was discerning. And at a point of time, again, I wanted to make more money, right? Because right now I'm already in a government job. And at the time I was doing long distance with my current wife. So we had met in Miri and, I had to make money so that I can sort of travel in between. So again, a means to an end. And that's why we sort of took up wanting to do locum. And Dr. Aziz was the first person to ever give me an opportunity to locum. This guy is a big guy in Miri. He runs a private practice. He's an entrepreneur. He's one of the biggest orthodontists in Sarawak, period. He runs a dental clinic, which is 2 floors, 8 chairs. On top of that, he's also running a restaurant. He's also running a hotel in Miri. And how he sets up his practice is, he picks up people from the airport who's traveling to Miri from Brunei. He brings you to his restaurant or to his restaurant and hotel to stay in there, to have lunch there, to the clinic, and then back. So very entrepreneur, and I'm really blessed to have met someone like this to be a mentor in my life and to see the things that he did inspired me. And his philosophy was very good. He said, like, Brian, I was waiting for about 2 hours to apply for a job. There was no space, right? This guy is taking the best dentist in Miri. I'm just a Fido who has 6 months of experience on my cards, and I'm trying to learn about ortho. Just curiosity and passion is all I had. So I waited for him for 2 hours for him to finish cases. We sat down in a restaurant afterwards. We just had a chat. We're drinking and said, what can I do for you? I said, I just want the opportunity to work with you, to work for you. I don't care if it's on Sundays because it was only open on Saturdays. I'll take whatever hours you can give me. And I think it's something that sort of resonated there. There was no space, but he accommodated a space for me. He set up a chair for me, and then I started, experiencing locum. And it paid well because we had patients that are coming in from Brunei. So you can imagine, right? So these were the people who sort of gave me opportunity along the way, and I'm very thankful for them. And what I want to say with that is that these people will be put in your life to sort of help you along your way. If you know what you want and if you're chasing your passion in your heart, what he told me is that, Brian, don't worry about the money. Money is important. Just focus on the quality of work. This is something that, Manipal lecturers, all the mentors have been saying, is just focus on the quality of work. Money will come. The money will chase you. And, it just worked out that what he says sticks with me until today. And for all his generosity, the only thing I could do is try to pay it forward today, which is why whenever I do talks like this or take up some of my time, I'm trying to pay back the generosity that he had paid to me earlier. So I'm paying it forward. And if you, at one point of your life, if you feel that, you're at a position to help inspire others or, help, you never know, your story might help somebody who's in your position, see things like you, do that, pay it forward. So that's my foster family. Finally left Miri, and then eventually I became the dental director for a group. Again, I had wanted to study my master's, right? I would not have left Miri. I loved it in Miri. But because there was an opportunity, I had applied to King's at a point of time. I did not think I would get it because it was late in December. All the seats were fully taken up. I was attending courses and I met the program director when he had come down. So what I would encourage to all of you is go out, meet people, attend courses. Don't do it just to boost your product knowledge. Do it to network with people. You never know, the people that you meet might actually help you on your journey. And because I had applied to King's and I actually got in, I knew that now I needed to work in a private setting with better materials for me in order to do my cases and finish. So again, a means to an end. So along the path, things will unfold slowly that will lead you to where you're meant to be. I did not expect on becoming the dental director. This is just something that happened because the rest of the group left. I was the only dentist who was holding the license for the practice. There were 3 centers, and suddenly I was thrust into a role where I had to do business end of things. I had to develop the practices as well as do clinical to generate revenue. But because of that experience, I got into a lot of meeting with politicians for lobbying for all types of campaigns. Because BP Healthcare started off as a blood lab, they do pharmacy and all the other allied health. So the things that I had done during my time in Miri, working with all this outskirt thing, actually helped me for my job currently in BP. So BP, the running joke was BP stands for Brian Paulo. So it's meant for me also to be in BP. If you want to paint it poetic, yes. So while I was in there was even this company called Dr. To You. So they're a teledentistry company. So whilst I was doing the business end and clinical end to generate revenue for the company, I also started up teledentistry within the group. So because of that, this is my first day in BP, occupying the room. That's my space. I don't stay there anymore. And of course, Prof. Suman came to visit when he was down. Very, very grateful to Prof. Suman, one of the big mentors that I have in my life. And I'm very thankful to him for all that he's done. Especially, I wasn't exactly the most studious student, I would say. There was once that I actually had failed radiology because I was too much inclined into modeling, right? So that was the toughest, period, because you sort of got into modeling because you wanted to get first class honors in order so that you don't pay back the PTPTN money that you had. But now you're in a position where you fail a subject, and if you fail, you can't get your first class honors, then you sort of defeated the purpose into why you got it in the first place. So what I want to say is not constantly up when it comes to dental school. A lot of you may be struggling. I would say I'm not the best when it came to my handwork. I put in a lot of effort. A lot of my friends helped me out as well. I used to stay back a lot. I wasn't the most artistic, but with perseverance, eventually you can overcome these things and, just keep at it and do your best. So I'm very thankful to Sir Prof. Suman for being a very integral part of my life and for all the inspiration he's given. So eventually I started getting into loops. A lot of you see these things. I eventually started up this innovation and, it got me on TV for it. People asked me they interviewed me on Bernama because it became one of the top programs in Malaysia. I presented it during one of the excos and I think we got top 3 presentation for innovation at a point of time. So I was talking about teledentistry and at a point of time, because it was associated to blood labs, right? So BP inherently does a lot of your blood checks in a year. So I changed my model of what I knew of dentistry and I started switching towards the health aspect. So I started doing oral cancer screenings. I started taking teledentistry for these type of things to adapt my current situation. And these are some of the celebrities that we got to work with, Go Lu Ying. So it's very fun meeting these people as well. So I still harbored the thing that eventually that I was going to study masters, right? So I really tried. I did everything I could. I did the papers, but opportunities were closed. Packing order in Miri, there were 5 people waiting for HLP. So no way I was going to get in. And against my own time, I was sort of against my timeline to get my master's before I was 30. This is something that I set up for myself. I consider myself blessed that I was able to do it. Maybe not in the field that I wanted, but another opportunity opened up. So don't give up. Always look for the opportunity. So this is me in Adelaide. I went down to meet the program director, and he had mentioned to me at that point of time, you have everything we are looking for in a candidate. The only problem is that you don't have an Australian cert. So imagine after doing that long thing and going through the whole process, you're at the pinnacle where you're applying for your favorite school, and they just tell you like you can't get in because you don't have an Australian cert. That's how competitive things are nowadays. So I remember how low I felt at the point of time, but better things opened up. And this is my program director for Kings. He came down to talk, and it was the first time I heard anyone talk about dentistry in that aspect. He is one of the leading people in wear management. So he's on the European Wear Management Council. Very senior guy, very cool guy. You can see him hanging out with us, just having a drink here when he was down to start his course here in Malaysia as well. And again, my appreciation for occlusion developed from there. Of course, we were doing aesthetic dentistry, but I learned a lot. These are some of the other people that we work with. Dr. Nurul Huda, who is also our KOLs. As you can see, I fitted all of them in our jerseys for next season. And what we want to do is show the world what Malaysian dentistry is all about. So that's my offer from Kings. That's me mucking around with some of my friends. This is something that we used to do. We attended a few courses, do attend a lot of courses. This is me attending my first polo match because of the business end in BP, I got to experience things like polo. So this was during the Ferrari launch that they did in Ipoh. And because of that, I got to experience my first game of polo. Of course, I didn't play, but I got to ride the horse. I got to see the stable in the estate. So dentistry has opened up a lot of new experiences for me, to which I'm very, very thankful. I got to meet a lot of colorful people during this thing. And I never thought that I would be in the position that I'm in. So if you guys have a fixed mind as to what you're going to do about life, think again. All I can say is that why normalcy appeals so much to me is because I thought that I was aiming for a constant that, this is it. I'm going to aim this and this is going to be my life, clinical life until I retire, going to make a lot of money. I'm going to do good work. But when you're planning, life actually has a different, plan for you, and it works out better than you could have imagined. So what I want to encourage and tell people who are struggling or who don't know, what your calling is at this point is don't worry, feed the curiosity, be experiential, travel, and eventually the answers will come to you. So this is us. Every time I come back, this is one of the best lecturers ever. She's the reason why I'm very familiar with prosthodontics, and I'm very passionate about dentistry because she's such a good teacher. And of course, that goes to saying with all the lecturers that we have encountered, this is us doing the PhD project in Manipal. And again, we came back to work on some of the projects like this. And this was while I was doing my master's as well. So you don't have to be occupying one thing to try different things. It doesn't have to be sequential. You can experience multiple things at different times. So this is me leaving BP, and eventually this is my team, right, in PLDS, the clinical team. So Dr. Perlin, I met him when I was interning in Glen Eagles. Little did I know that I'll be working with him clinically now. So you never know, the people that you meet earlier on in your life will help you later on. These are some of the cases that I do. I'm very passionate about aesthetic dentistry. So this is me designing one of the cases for the patients after applying composite. I do a lot of functional restoration, so face bows, occlusal rehabs, this type of work. So that's me for 3M. This is my 3M family. This is the team that I manage. I think you would know Prof. Xiao among Dr. Lim Tong Wah and the rest of the team. So again, I manage speakers. So what I do is I work with students such as yourself. And of course, MMC has a close place in my heart. So always very, very passionate to work with my alma mater. But I work with students. I work with speakers. I work with clinicians. I help them set up the practices. So you may know some of the doctors in the industry, such as Dr. Sean Paul. Dr. Sean Paul is actually from Manipal as well. So it's, he was actually there in the MCOTS program. So this is us doing some of the internship for some of the other students. This is us during World Oral Health Day, working with the Army, working with the MDA, Long Kaijo. So we did multiple different types of talks, events. This was me traveling for USM. So part of my work, I have to travel around Malaysia a lot. So sometimes I'm in Malacca, sometimes I'm in Kelantan. This was me presenting during the MMMC colloquium. So I got to actually share a seat with one of my idols, Dr. Prashanti. That was a big moment for me, being a co-speaker at a Manipal event with one of my favorite speakers. So never would I have dreamed that, I'd be in this position to do that. This is us organizing something for orthodontics in UITM as well. We also do parties and launches for new things that come out. So a lot of event-based things. We work with people from the Dental Academy, to bring courses as well. So what I want to get out to you is that I always felt like the odd one out because all of my batchmates used to think I was a bit weird, right? Because everyone's preparing for, life in dentistry, life in having a clinic and garnering towards saving to start up their practice. I, on the other hand, had a different inclination. And because of that, a lot of people thought I was different. And, sometimes people don't understand why you're like this, but it's okay to be different because if you sort of do what everyone else is doing, don't do it for the sake of it, but if you really feel something that is urging you to explore something in your heart, pay attention to that. And you don't need abundance to grow anywhere. This picture I like really a lot because I saw this in Miri. This plant was growing amidst the rocks. So this is a picture epitome of thriving in harsh conditions for me, which is something I really adhere to. So it doesn't matter if the situation is stacked up against me. I'm always going to make the best of whatever situation I have around me. I'm going to use the opportunities to help myself level up. So if you're like myself, or if you find yourself in this position of discerning, don't worry, it's very normal. Just enjoy the ride. Okay. So this is one of the campaigns that I spearheaded. We got some of the KOLs or dental influencers also to come on board. It's a very fun project. We did a project with 3M with the B40 group, providing preventive dentistry for the marginalized. So that's me along all the captains talking for 3M. We also organized this with key speakers teaching photography amongst different things. So I organized a lot of these things. We even did a photography competition. I also organize a lot of content speaking. If you want to learn about post and core, you want to deepen your knowledge about crowns, these are things that we do. This is some of the things we did during the MCO. So if any of you would have attended this, this is some of the work that I do. So I work with these people to come up with all these programs, right? And that's us at the end having fun as well. Because there's people that you meet, right? It's always the formal photos, but during the freestyle, they really, really show you that they're very fun people. So have fun with the people you meet. Everyone's sort of a kid inside. Everyone loves to do something. So just have fun when you're working. Okay. So that's Dr. Bala, myself, and Dr. Afiq as well from Pasadan. One of the people that I got the pleasure to work with, very young dentist, very entrepreneur. So he set up his practices. I think you would have seen in Astana Dental. He's treating celebrities and all this type of things. So we work with some of the young and best talents, a diverse group of dentists around Malaysia, in order to show the global part that the quality of dentistry that we have in 3M, which is why when we design the uniform, we have to always carry Malaysia wherever we go. Okay, so these are some of the courses that we organize. So if you're looking for courses to attend, some of you may have met me during the courses. So these were the courses that I had organized. Hopefully, we'll bring some of it to Manipal as well, so that you guys don't have to travel too far. So hopefully that is something that we can do once COVID is over. It might be in the pipeline. Let's see. So we work with speakers in the spaces. That's Dr. Kayla Tay, one of our KRH's key influencers as well. She's attending our networking avenue, and that's us just giving the course at one of the state-of-the-art places in Dental City. Do come board. I also do industrial training, so that's one of my high school friends. We connected and did career talks as well in LinkedIn. If ever you guys want to start a page, right, please start up a LinkedIn, guys. All of the jobs that I've had is because I've applied through LinkedIn. Even the dental directorship for BV, nobody knew of the opportunity because it was on LinkedIn. So I would encourage you to get into the corporate side of stuff. Start up a LinkedIn account. If you need my help in setting up one, just look up for my talk. I teach people how to set it up so that you can put yourself in a position of getting found into a good job. So these are some of the events that we did towards the last year. Again, speaking at this event with Dr. Rizal, was co-speaker for that among the other stellar speakers. This was more of a TED Talk like things. So these are some of the 3M materials. So what's next? I don't know. It's been 5 years into my career so far since I started. But I'm really blessed and thankful that I got to experience a lot of things. I think I'm coming to a hard stop. I think I have about 2 minutes before 7, and I'm supposed to leave ample of time. So what's next? Let's see. I'm working with some of these people that you may be familiar with. A lot of people who are into implants end up seeking opportunities with Dr. Lee Soon Boon. Talk to him, gem of a guy. If you're into trying to discover whether you like implants, go and talk to him. He's one of our KOLs. If you know Dr. Ishamsul, he's also involved in for implants. Everybody knows Dr. Hakenon. He's also one of the stalwarts who are on board of our team. So as you can imagine, the team is very star-studded, and I'm just a football manager managing the stars. Okay, so we not only have very experienced hands, we have very young entrepreneur dentists who have also come on board the team, who have joined the movement, and it's a very exciting part to be of. So how can you get involved, and how can you find yourselves in this position? That's why I'm coming to universities to give talks, to involve you guys, to work with the students, because I feel that the young people are the most talented, the people with the highest potential. If ever the future belongs to anyone, it's to the young. So you guys are a very talented batch. Do explore your curiosity, because all these guys explored their curiosity, and as a result they got found and discovered, and now as a result we are working together to level up the dentistry level in Malaysia. So these are some of the things that you might see. I was also supposed to talk about a technical talk, so I'll just press on for another 2 minutes before I conclude for discussion. This is a competition that is organized for all you students that's coming up. So we also partnered with MEP, which is the Malaysian Association for Prosthodontics. There's a competition involving indirect portfolio, right? Indirect dentistry. So just like Style Italiano is part of 3M, this is a philosophy that was started by a group of clinicians called Success Simplified. What is it all about? For clinicians who are in private practice, it's just a philosophy to help us optimize your practice. I believe in the Japanese saying Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. We help clinics figure out, or rather when I work, this is what I do with private practices. I help them figure out how they can optimize their clinical practice, whether you're standardizing your inventory from the business aspect, whether you're training your staff, or whether you're training new associates that are coming in. I'm involved in all these type of things with the private clinics. So this is the idea behind Success Simplified. These are the 5 people from around the world who started it, and we are part of the group in Malaysia who are being first in Asia to join this group. It's a very exciting movement that was started. These 5 prosthodontists sat down together and said, what are the most common problems in prosthodontics? Because prosthodontics can get quite elaborate, right? You're probably wondering, okay, which cement goes first? Do I, how long am I supposed to sort of put this astringent on? Am I supposed to impress this? Am I supposed to subgingivally prep? There are a lot of considerations that come in. And because of lack of familiarity, a lot of people fall into incorporating error. So that's why what we're trying to do is simplify the workflow. And that's why there's these 7 steps. And in the competition, all you have to do is when you're submitting your cases, show how you have applied these 7 steps to stand a chance to win the competition. And this is the local program, and it's eventually going to become part of an opportunity, hopefully globally, that you'll be given an opportunity to present in a foreign country with other competitors from different countries such as Australia, Indonesia, etc. So these are the platforms that I'm setting up, and we're at the start of something that's very exciting, which is why I love to be for all of you to be part of it. So these are some of the other things that we do part of Success Simplified. So again, I mentioned to Kuro that these are some of the talks that I'll be hosting, part of Success Simplified. I'll be providing trainings to all of you how you can simplify your indirect dentistry. So this series of talks will be running from late March up to May. I might be adding in external speakers who are also coming in to help me complement this talk. But this is pretty much covering all the philosophies that we have touched on, from material selection, if you're using gold, metal, composites, if you're using zirconia, how do you prepare these things for cementation? How much do you need to prep teeth? What composites are relevant? When do I use, or where do I use flowable? How much do I light cure? Are bonding agents relevant? Finishing and polishing, what is the truth? What's the myth? Post and core, do I use it? Is it relevant in today's life of adhesive dentistry? Yes or no? If I'm temporizing, what are my boundaries? If I'm taking impressions, how can I minimize error? And of course, if I'm cementing, am I applying the right philosophies and the right techniques in order to make sure that the success are predictable? So this is all in the philosophy of Success Simplified. So similar to Style Italiano, this is a series that I am starting. It's called the 9 series, so look out to it. I will be communicating this through your student council reps, i.e. I think Karo is from MMMC. So it always seems possible until it's done. Everyone will tell you, give you different opinions. Always use it as feedback. Don't hate on it. If anything, they're just giving you feedback. So use it to your advantage and help yourself to discover what you really want, as opposed to take it as demotivation. And network with people, go far, network, collaborate, and just always look to add value to whatever space that you're occupying. And you never know, you might end up somewhere where you could not have imagined. So with that, I'd like to end my talk. I'm sorry that I'm 4 minutes over. I really tried to cover 134 slides, so I've spoken at an accelerated speed. So now I'll just hand it back to the moderator, and let's have a chat and see if we can, answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Dr. Bryan, for the very informative talk. This has definitely broadened our perspective on opportunities available within the dental industry, and I think we can all agree that we have received some really insightful information. Now, I would like to call upon Ms. Varsha to conduct the Q&A session.
Hi, Doctor. Hi. So for the first question, what are the challenges you faced as an undergraduate in dentistry?
Finishing my homework. Because I was always, sort of torn in between, different things. And, you're playful as a student, right? But I realized that, these lecturers, I remember even once not finishing homework, and Ma'am Prashanti got really upset about it. And I was so upset that I had upset her. After that, I never not finished my homework again. But yeah, I mean, these are some of the things that, just being a student and going through whatever you're going through, figuring out what you want to do. So just take it all in, and if you don't have all the answers, it's okay. Just have fun while you're a student, and just listen to your lecturers and maximize leverage on everything they're telling you, because you won't get back the time. Yep.
Okay, so second question, in your opinion, what's the best thing to do fresh out of graduation?
Okay, there's no right answer to this. It really depends on the direction that you want to pursue. Like I said, if you're curious about something, go and explore it. First thing you do is go have fun. Go travel, provided that you can travel. If you want to travel with friends, you want to go to Bali, wherever you want to go, Langkawi, go freak out, have fun. And after that, you sort of, once you're done with that, you realize that, okay, let's get busy now. Then, go explore an interest. If you want to be an orthodontist, go talk to an orthodontist. If you want to get into surgery, go talk to an oral surgeon. If you want to get into the line of work that I'm occupying, come talk to someone like me. Because the more people that you think that you can envision yourself doing that, go and approach and talk to these people, and that will be a start. You never know, you might end up working with them.
Okay, so the final question, how does one usually build a business model before opening a clinic?
Okay, very nice business angle question. I like it. Okay. So it depends. Are you asking me from the dental perspective? Are you asking me from a supplier perspective? Or are you asking me from a clinician perspective? It really depends. If you're building up a business model, that's why I said, okay, this is my answer, right? But I'll get into a bit more if you want me to elaborate about other things that you might want to know. That's why I said you are your clinic, right? Because you always treat yourself as business. You are the endpoint. You are the clinic. And that's why wherever you go is where the value is at. Don't sort of fixate your thing to a structure, because structures collapse. Like, during the MCO, we've seen a lot of friends who foreclosed their clinics. They had the best business ideas, but because of the current climate, it's just unlucky timing. But if you believe that you yourself are the value, you yourself are the clinic, right? Eventually, you're going to be able to start up again. And that's the reality of business. If you're starting small, what I would advise is always go molecular, always go atomic, always look for the simple things that you can do well. For example, what I mean by this is, if you want to start up a business, make sure the work that you're doing is quality. Always check and audit yourself to make sure whatever you're doing, even if it's scaling, do it properly. Because patients can sense this value, and eventually that adds up to people wanting to come to you and buy. Because when I was in BP, I can share with you my story, okay? Business end, just came out of government, had not done restorative dentistry except for the locum for 6 months, right? And now I have to lead a group. So I started up with just saying we were only up to 4,000 in sales per month. For any dental clinic, that's bad shape. That's really bad shape. And you have to now manage 3 practices around Malaysia, which is in Klang, Bukit Tinggi, near the Manipal Hospital. There's one in Glenmarie and there's one in Ipoh. So you have to manage 3. Which one do you actually start with? So if you look at things like that, right, it gets very overwhelming. So I just strategized to start with one, focus on HQ, do it, templatize it, and then replicate it. So I started up the practice just doing, health checks. Number one is, how do you generate flow? Because a lot of people like struggle with flow. There's a lot of competition. You see one row of shops. But I identified what is the unique position of BP. They offer blood tests. As a result of that, I said, okay, if they're coming for blood tests, maybe they don't want dentistry. They hear dentistry, they don't want it. Can I then change the angle to go for oral health? So then I coined the term oral health screenings. And just by changing the concept like that, suddenly people were coming in just to check. I did it for free. And eventually, when I showed them everything, they wanted to do scaling. So from zero sales, suddenly there was sales. How much did it cost for that? So that's why I'm always thinking, be very aware of the position you're in, look around and see what you can use to advantage, and always don't try to BS people. Always try to really add back value to your people, because if you try to give value, people can pick up that sincerity. And eventually, because of that, sorry, at the expense of blowing my trumpet, but this is purely because you asked me about the business question, right? From less than 10 figures, within 6 months, there was no nurse. So I had to get someone fresh, train the nurse from zero. And with that one nurse, eventually we built a practice to 5 figures within 6 months, just doing scaling. And we didn't have any restorative dentistry. We had to buy materials, right? So then I thought, what else can I do? Then there was preventive dentistry. So again, like I said, instead of normal things, I got involved in oral cancer screenings, because this is a health center. So because of virtue of doing that, I started catering for a segment of people using 3M fluoride as well, who used to come in just to get their fluoride added for oral cancer. So suddenly then different streams, because you're changing your creativity in how you're trying to bring in money, but the same way you're keeping it simple. How much do you earn from whitening? Probably you earn like 600, 700 bucks after doing, let's say, 1.5K or 2K. But if you're using Philips Zoom, you're spending 600 bucks. So maybe if you're charging 1,008, maybe you make a healthy margin of 1,002. I saw an opportunity to make 800 ringgit or 900 or 1,200 ringgit in 15 minutes just using preventive dentistry. So if you want to hear about that, then you attend my talk, which I'm actually doing in my 9 series. So I'll be sharing with you how I actually generated 1,200 ringgit or 800 within 15 minutes just using fluoride. So if you're into that kind of stuff and you want to find out doing things conservative, you can attend my talk. But yeah, I mean, eventually we slowly build up. So that's all I can say is like, do the simple things well, and eventually these things add up. Always don't chase the money. Try to add value. Always try to think of yourself from the patient perspective, and people really appreciate that. And eventually you start selling value. You don't have to deduct costs. Now consultation itself you can charge pretty high, because people are coming to you because they're confident in you, right? So yeah, just do the simple things well. Hope that makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I think every other question you've managed to cover in your presentation. So thank you so much. I'll pass the presentation back to Sumitra.
Sure. If you guys have more questions, please ask me. I don't mind extending, because I really I love Manipal, right? So like I see myself in a lot of you guys, and to see you guys now in batch 9 and 10, man, I'm old. Yeah, I've been around for a while. But yeah, jokes aside, very, very attached, or I feel very thankful to Manipal for everything he's done to me. Dr. Som as well, for being a very cool lecturer. He's still a cool lecturer, spotting different looks. So participate and get involved. And if there's anything you guys need, or you want to engage with me, if you're shy, you don't want to ask me now, just hit me up on LinkedIn. We can have a chat.
Thank you, Dr. Bryan, and thank you, Ms. Varsha. Ms. Kanchana, do you have any question from the YouTube live session?
There are no questions from the YouTube live session. I'll proceed back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Prashanti to give a few words.
Hi, ma'am. Take your mute.
Dr. Prashanti, I think you are muted.
sorry for that. And I'm very excited to see you, Brian. So I did not even unmute. I could not miss this chance of talking at this platform and tell you how proud we are. And when Dr. Som actually asked me, and my phone got switched off, and I quickly switched to the laptop because I said I cannot miss telling Brian, and I'm actually outside if you can see. So we're very, very proud of you, Brian. And to all the others who are actually listening to him, you have seen that past 1 hour, without a stop, non-stop, he could speak, he could show what he has achieved in the past few years. And he's our first baby, the first batch student, and the 21 of them were there in that. All of them are very, very special to us. And Brian was like, the star there. And as he has been mentioning that he loves Manipal, we love you, Brian. And you uh, are set apart, mainly because, not only because of your talent in several fields, as you have actually mentioned in your presentation, but also you are so down to earth, so humble, that today also you remember your teachers, and that sets you apart. And I can only wish you many more achievements and much more laurels, and God bless you. And we really love you, Brian. Take care. And thank you, Dr. Som. Thanks a lot for inviting me, because it means a lot to see a student actually flourish. I think a teacher cannot have anything better than to see the student doing so well. And that brings us a lot of happiness and tears of joy. And this is from me and Prof. Sumant. Brian, all the very best, and we love you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Now I would like Mr. Elvin to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sumitra. First and foremost, on behalf of Student Council, we would like to express our gratitude to our respected speaker, Dr. Bryan, for his time and a very insightful talk. Next, we would like to thank Prof. Dr. Abdul Rashid, Dean of Faculty of Dentistry, Manipal University College Malaysia, MUCM, and the respected faculties from Faculty of Dentistry for making time to attend the talk. Of course, a big thank you to Student Council members for their efforts into making this talk happen successfully, along with the guidance from our advisor, Prof. Dr. Som Subra, for ensuring the success of our talk. Thank you to all the participants for attending this continuous professional development, and I hope to see everyone again in the upcoming session. That's all from me.